Assalamu alaikum, Army Public School and College Khanewal. Here is your class second year and the subject is biology. Chapter number 16, Sport and Locomotion, and the topic is disorder of skeleton. Here we are going to discuss about the disorders of the skeleton. Yes, we have discussed about the skeletal system in which you have seen the appendicular skeleton, the axial skeleton that was composed of different types of bones. Now, if there is any problem becomes in that bones, it is known as the disorder of the skeleton. And the causes of deformations are variable. If you say that disorders are common, not like this, the disorders are different and their causes of deformations are also different or variable. Like here you can see different disorders mentioned, genetic or hereditary disorders. It includes the cleft plate, microcephaly, arthritis, and osteoarthritis. And the second one is the hormonal disorder. It includes osteoporosis. Genetic disorders are those disorders that are inherited into the next generation, and they can be of these types. These are certain disorders that are genetic or hereditary. Next are the hormonal disorders. It can be caused by the up and down balance of hormones in your body, and it caused one disease known as the osteoporosis. And the third one is a nutritional disorder, rickets and osteomalacia. If you remember in your 9th class, you have seen this disorder, rickets and osteomalacia. These were basically the protein deficiency diseases. Accidental disorders that can be caused by some extent. It includes disc slip, spondylosis, sciatica, and arthritis. So different pictures of different disorders are also given here. Now we are going to discuss some common disorders of skeleton. The first one is the slip disc. The first disorder that we are going to discuss is about the slip disc, or you can also call it the disc slip. This is a cushion-like pad which is present in the invertebral disc. Here the diagram is given, class. You can see here. This is the spinal cord. You know about the spinal cord, the part of central nervous system present here. Next to it, you can see here this disc. And these two brown color are vertebrae. Fine. In vertebral column, you know, there are the 33 vertebrae. So such vertebrae are present there. Between them, you can see this structure that is made up of nucleus pulposus and annular fibrous. The central part is the nucleus pulposus and the outer part, or you can say the peripheral part, is the annulus fibrosus. Fine. Beside this, and it is making the structure of the disc. Fine. This is the disc structure which is present between the vertebrae. So you can say it is a cushion-like pad present in invertebral disc, a semi-fluid nucleus pulposus. And you can see here in the central region, this is a semi-fluid nucleus pulposus is also present here. And the fibrocartilage, this is the outermost, that is the fibrocartilage, and it is making the annulus fibrosus. So this is the structure of the disc. Now come towards the function of this disc, that is also known as a cushion-like pad. What is its basic function? It acts like a shock absorber, like whenever you bend over, whenever you lift some weight. At that condition, what happened? It acts like a shock absorber. Physical trauma in the spine cause the herniation. Like if physical trauma in case of any accident, if you uplift some heavy weight, fall if you fell down. So these are the different physical traumas in which the spine slip. This slip is basically the spine which is present here. It get damaged, herniation. It is unable to perform its function. What happened in it? Actually, the nucleus pulposus plus annulus fibrosus, these both structures rupture here. These both structures, when they become rupture, you can see that if one vertebra is this one and the second vertebra is this one, between them is this disc that is made up of this nucleus pulposus plus annulus fibrosus. It becomes degenerate or it becomes ruptured. Then it can cause a friction in between these two vertebrae. Beside this, what can happen else? You can see here one other structure. This is thread-like, fiber-like structure present here. That is called the nerves. You know that from the spinal cord, different nerves also arises. The peripheral central nervous system that is made up of these nerve roots, it also becomes damaged. Hence, no message can be reached towards the spinal cord, and the spinal cord is unable to send it further towards the central nervous system. Hopefully, this point is clear to you. Now, I'm going to show you one diagram, Yes, here you can see this, the healthy disc, fine. That is consisting of nucleus of the disc, the nucleus pulposus, the outer layer was a fibrocartilage, fine. Here was the nerve that I showed you, the thread-like structure. This is the spinal cord and this is the vertebra. So in between the vertebra, this disc is present, healthy disc, fine. But here you can see the slip disc. What is the difference between these two pictures? You can see that nucleus pulposus becomes ruptured. Its structure here in this picture is different and here it is different. You can see also this red area which is highlighting that the nerve, that it's showing that the nerve is also getting damaged. Hence, you need to take bed rest or painkillers for the treatment of this slip disc. Here I'm going to show you one video where you can understand that how slip disc can damage your vertebral column. Okay, we'll show you in the last. Let's see the next one. That is the spondylosis. Spondylosis is another is another disorder of the skeleton. It is the immobility and fusion of vertebral joint. What is spondylosis? It is the immobility and fusion of vertebral joint. Here the vertebral joints also becomes packed with each other and they become totally immovable. You can see that in case of spondylosis, pain is caused by the degeneration of the spine, like spinal disc. You can also see say that last we discussed about the spine slip disc, where we see that the nerve fibers was also getting damaged. Fine. One thing was that. Second thing was that there was also no cushion-like pad, so uh, there was a great friction between two vertebrae. Hence, spondylosis is also like that. Pain is caused by the degeneration of the spine or spinal disc. Spinal disc become very thin, lost moisture plus breakdowns. That it is also containing the semifluid, which lost the moisture and it becomes breakdown. Next, immobility. It is spondylosis also cause the immobility and pain. Plus fusion of vertebral joints, that joints becomes attached with each other. What happened here? It can cause a spinal osteoarthritis. That osteoarthritis where the cartilage is where the cartilage present between two joints becomes vanished, slip disc and sciatica. So This can also be the types of the spondylosis, or it can also be, these can also be the symptoms of these further diseases. Next is the sciatica. It is a stabbing pain radiating over the course of sciatic nerve. Do you remember I show you one picture here? Yes, here you can see these nerves, fine. So one nerve is present in your leg region, femur, that is known as the sciatic nerve. And basically it is disorder of that nerve known as the sciatica. What happened here that the nerve force block or the area block cause pain in the muscles. Due to sciatica nerve injury, lower portion vertebral column, it actually affects the lower portion of vertebral column that was also known as the pelvic girdle that we discussed in our last lecture. What happened here that it herniated disc. Yes, we know that the slip disc, it was also causing damage to the nerves, right? So you can say that herniated disc also caused the sciatica. Improper administration, injection, Vertex, these things can also cause the problem of the sciatica in the hip region because it is present over there. In lower back, pelvic region, thigh, knee, lower leg and foot, it can also cause the problem or the pain that is radiating towards this region of the body, or you can say the region of this pelvic girdle. So this was about the sciatica and how we can recover from sciatica. The recovery from sciatica injury is usually slow and incomplete. And the causes, what can be the causes of this? I have already discussed, but let me tell you again. Injury to pressure on the sciatica nerve, yes. Sciatica can be happened by the injury. Slip disc, yes, it can also cause a sciatica. Pelvic injury, yes, it in the region of these all parts like the hip region and this thigh, knee, lower foot, leg region. If an injury occurs in this region, then it can also cause the sciatica. Or if in case of any tumor that occurs in these regions, it can also cause the sciatica because it is basically the nerve force block. Fine. Next to it is arthritis. You are familiar with arthritis very well. What is arthritis? It is inflammation or degeneration disease that damage joints. Basically, you can say it is the inflammation of the joints known as the arthritis. Basically, it occurs in old age women. Here you can see the diagram. One is a normal hand. The joints are given here. Different joints, the phalanges joints you can see here. And the next is the arthritis patient hand. And you can see here this red highlighted area that is showing the inflammation. Inflammation is known as the arthritis. Symptoms: pain, stiffness in joints, hip joints, ankle joints, because these are basically the most basic joints in your body. So it causes stiffness over there and that produce the pain in your body. Next to it is the treatment. What can be the treatment for the arthritis? Painkiller, anti-inflammatory drugs. Yes, inflammation can be can be removed by these anti-inflammatory drugs. Next to it is arthritis types. You can see here osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and the gout. First of all, see about this osteoarthritis. This is the degeneration in cartilage. You can see this bone joints, two bones, and this one region is of joint. You can see here this cartilage. Fine. This is the cartilage point that is present here. Okay, what happened? Degeneration in cartilage. When between two bones, the cartilage which is joining them becomes degenerate or destroy, it causes the osteoarthritis. What happened here? Decreased lubricant. You know that whenever the joints move, they bend over. If the cartilage degenerates, then they are unable to move. So it becomes immovable. Fine. Next to them is the rheumatoid arthritis, in which inflammation of membrane. Okay, beside cartilage, there is also one membrane which is present in the area of this joint between two bones. You can see these are two bones. Here, the pink color was of cartilage, and the blue area is showing the membrane area. Or you can see here, this is the membrane area. Fine. This is the cartilage, and this is the membrane present here. Inflammation of membrane in the joints that cause the fatigue, fever, pain, and stiffness. So this is the rheumatoid arthritis. Simply remember that rheumatoid is because of the membrane and osteoarthritis is because of the cartilage degeneration. And yes, the third type here, the gout. It is the accumulation of uric acid crystals. Like you can see here, this toe joint, and you can observe certain crystals here. These are made up of uric acid, which cause a problem known as the gout, and it is a type of arthritis because it basically damaged the joints, the toe joint. You can see here. Okay, next one is the broken bones or fractured bones, repair of broken bones. But before going to discuss about the repairance, let's see about the broken bones and fractures. That what it is. A fracture is the medical term for a broken bone. Right? When a bone is broke down, then this terminology is known as the fracture. Okay, bone break at different ages, fine, in youth and in old ages. Or it can also be fractured in some accidental ways that cause injuries. So here are some common types of fractures. Number one is the simple fracture or closed fracture. Not mentioned here, but I'm telling you the common types of fractures, the broken bones common types are three. Number one, simple fracture or closed fracture. What happened in it is skin is intact, like only skin is intact here. The next is a compound fracture or open fracture. It is in it the bone ends penetrate the skin and form wounds. Okay, in this what happened that wound is present in the skin, that end bones, like if bone is break down, its two ends are there, and if the one end is penetrated into the skin, it is known as the open fracture. The third one is the complicated fracture. In it, fracture damage the adjacent organs, like it is not just damaging the skin or the area where it occurred. Beside this, it is damaging the adjacent organs which are present along with it. Now come towards the repairance of broken bones, that if any one of them, the simple fracture, compound fracture, or complicated fracture has happened, then what to do next? How can we repair the bones? Okay, so here are 4-step stages given that are useful to repair broken bones. Hematoma formation, number 1. Number 2, callus formation. Number 3, bony callus formation. And number 3, remodeling. So let's start from this hematoma formation. This one. Yes, that is the accumulation of blood. What happened? That whenever any injury occurs, there on the area of broken bone, you can find there the accumulation of blood. When the bone breaks, the blood vessels in the bone itself and in surroundings are torn, resulting hemorrhage. As a result, a hematoma, a mass of clotted blood, forms at the fracture site. So in the next picture here, you can see that this is the fractured bone, right? Here is the fracture. Both it has been divided into two parts because of this fracture, and you can see inside of this what is happening here. This is a hematoma. The blood vessels ruptured and they are causing the mass of blood cells, the clotting of blood cells, that is known as the hematoma formation here. Soon after, bone cell deprived of food begins to die and the tissue at the fracture site becomes swollen and hence painful and inflamed. So inflammation, yes, so it is also causing the inflammation here because of the pain. So these clots for the repairance, these clots are removed by the surgeon or by the sometime by the body itself. This is the first step of bone repairance. That was the hematoma formation, accumulation of blood. Next to it is the callus formation. What takes place in the callus formation, or you can say the fibrocartilaginous that is present in the bone region. What happened in callus formation? Fibroblast and osteoblast formation occurs here. Like there was the soft callus begins to form in 3 to 4 weeks. This process, the callus formation, that is that takes that started from week 3 to 4 weeks of the injury. Capillaries grows into the hematoma and phagocytic cells invade the area and clear up the debris. As you know that blood clotted area and there were vessels, broken vessels for some debris. It all is cleared in this callus formation step that take place in 3 to 4 weeks of the injury. The ruptures periosteum and stimulates the production and release of numerous osteoblasts. These osteoblasts, in conjunction with cartilage forming cells, secrete a porous mass of bone and cartilage called the callus. Now it is making the callus the part of the soft part of the bone. This is the external callus you can see here, and this is the internal callus where the soft mass of the bone is generating again here. Fine. Callus replaces the original blood clot and holds end of the bones together. Fibroblast and osteoblast migrates into the fracture site and begins to construct the bone. So these type of cells becomes migrate here and they started to repair the bone with the help of formation of internal callus and the external callus. Next to it is the third step, that is of bony callus. Here you have seen that this was the soft callus formation. New blood vessels are also forming here. But now we are going to see the bony callus of spongy bone. Here, this is the third step. What happened here? Bony callus formation, or you can call it callus ossification as well. What happened here that osteoblast and osteoclast continue to migrate inward. These two type of cells, you know, osteoblasts and osteoclasts, the bone forming cells and the bone maturing cells. What they do, yes, here I think I have one message. Okay, I'm going to end this lecture. Just give me 2 minutes more, please. Bone formation begins with 3 to 4 weeks with the help of osteoblast and osteoclast here. What is the function of osteoclast here? Break down the cartilage. Fine, here in osteoclast, what they do here, they just break down the cartilage, while the osteoblast replace it with bone. Now the soft mass is replaced by the hard bone material here. Next to it is the bone remodeling. After several months, bony callus is remodeled by the excess material to the outside of the bone. It takes place when a compact bone is formed. Here the compact bone is formed in which the osteon from both sides break, extend across the fracture line to connect the bone. Usually more bone is produced at the site of healing fracture than needed to replace the damaged tissues. Hence you can say that the fractured bones becomes more strong other than the previous bone. Now you can see here, this is the healed fracture. It was all about the repairing of fractured bone.